What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Deep Thought. My name is Sasib, and let's get into today's topic. So today, guys, I wanted to talk about something along the lines of the psychological effect that the PC culture today is having on society. Now, we all know what's going on with today's society, everything that's being patrolled by the PC police, as everybody would call them. It's just a horde of people that will belittle you, berate you, and essentially embarrass you online, on the internet, anywhere online, essentially, for just having an opinion. So the PC culture goes around telling people they're wrong in any form or in any sense, in any way possible. It doesn't matter if 95% of the audience agrees with you, of whoever your audience is. There's going to be about another majority that's going to come after you in essence of what you've said, done, tweeted, now what you've tweeted, and all these things. And it's interesting to see, because we see how animalistic people really are over things that they feel passionate about, and it's not a bad thing. In a way, it's not a bad thing. But when we begin to shame people in other ways, rather than explaining to people why they might need to be censored, which I don't believe in at all. I do believe in everybody having an opinion, just have an educated opinion. So when it comes to this PC culture that we have today, let's dive into what these people are really feeling when they go after somebody, what they're actually trying to convey, the message that they're trying to get across, because they're obviously trying to be heard. And by they, I just mean anybody who goes out and partakes in the activities of all these people who go around online and just basically hurting other people verbally through the communication. So, from my understanding, it seems to go a little like this. Somebody would put up a video or a talk, commentary, text, tweet, anything, and people disagree with it, and then people start getting nasty and belligerent, start attacking the person that had originally put up the original post or whatever it might have been, and they start putting them down. They start beating them down verbally, calling them names, just, telling them awful, horrible things. I've seen them firsthand, not to myself, and I'm not gonna go out of my way and say that there never will be anybody that goes out of their way to disagree with me and what I have to say. And I'm sure there will be, at some point in my life, there will be people who wholeheartedly disagree with what I have to say and belittle me for it. But the thing is, the PC culture is taking it to a whole new extreme. They're taking it not only to they're not taking it to an educated level. They're taking it to an almost terroristic type level. And when I use that term, I use it in a very old-timey way, not in a more modern way of the terrorists that are going out killing people, but obviously the people that were actually going around spreading terrorism. I'm sure back 100 years ago, even before then, that were just spreading the propaganda and hating people for it and all those types of things. So these people are essentially like modern day terrorists now online. Now, when we think about terrorism, terrorists, or anything along those lines, we think about those people who want to hurt other people. Now, let's phrase it this way instead. These people are going out of their way to try and get their point across by doing an act or saying something to get their point across. That's what every terrorist and anywhere on this planet would ever do, because they're just trying to get a message across. That's all they're trying to do. And these people online on the web that are going around belittling, berating, essentially causing psychological mayhem to people because they're telling people that they're not right and that they're not okay, especially if somebody just goes out and says something along the lines of, I just had a sandwich, and people will go out and tell them that they're wrong because their sandwich didn't have mayonnaise and all these other things, and it spirals downward. And it causes this mayhem. It wreaks havoc on the person that had originally put that information up, because now they believe that they were wrong in some sort of fashion, that they believe that they are somehow beneath the people that are talking down to them now. So the first point here is that obviously whenever people are going out of their way to berate and belittle you online or even in person, it's because they're trying to get across a certain message. Whatever that message may be, I mean, I personally won't know, but when we get there, we'll have the time to essentially talk about it and decipher it. So, it's the first point. That's the first thing they're trying to do. And that's all we're all trying to do, actually. We're just trying to communicate with one another, and we do not have a great system of communication. So, anyway, going forward, people within that PC culture essentially are hateful, mean, and rude, and all these other things because they're trying to get across their own message. They're trying to be heard. And like any other human being that is trying to be heard, they're trying to get their point across, but they're doing it in a way that essentially hurts other people. And now we have painted them in a negative light. Now keep in mind, these people were always around. Not only were they around before the internet, they were around since the beginning of humanity and ever since we started creating anything from anything. Because that's essentially how we got better. But not to this extreme, not to this depth. At least I don't like to believe it was to this depth. That people would go around and create groups, form groups of hate, just because they don't understand and because they want to feel heard. Now, the second thing is actually what I had just mentioned right here, just a second ago, and it is that the PC culture doesn't understand. What we have to understand right now is the PC culture is actually somewhere between the age groups of essentially, I'm gonna go out and say possibly even 8-year-olds to about maybe 25-year-olds, somewhere around there. I would say a good portion of them are in that spectrum. Going there, these people are behaving based on their age, and what we have to remember and understand is that whenever there are people behaving within these age groups, one, their brains haven't developed fully. Mine hasn't developed fully. I still have a year or two left before apparently my brain is fully developed. So, what we have to understand is that these people are not fully developed mentally, so obviously they're a little possibly on the fringe. They're a little different is what I'm trying to say. In the way that they're not fully developed, they haven't educated themselves enough yet to understand the world a little bit more. We're putting so much frustration and disdain against this group of people because they don't understand the world. They don't understand the things in this world and how to communicate properly, clearly, to one another. Like when today you tell somebody, I disagree, in that age group, in that age group, when you tell people that are, especially from the ages about 15, 16 up to like 23, 24, in that age group, and possibly even older, actually, because I've known people that are about in their 30s that get extraordinarily upset when you tell them that you disagree, and you use and you say it in a professional manner. I mean, you don't obviously say it in a negative way, where you say it in a snarky type manner when you're like, I disagree, because I know some people do that. Obviously, that isn't the right way to do it, but essentially when we tell people that we disagree with them, they take it in a bad way for some reason. For some reason, they take it personally, that they had to be right. And because they weren't right, and that somebody doesn't agree with them and sees it through their view, their perspective, they must therefore react. And in most cases with the PC culture, they will overreact. And it's because they don't understand how to communicate the fact that they don't understand what you might be trying to get across, or the message that you're trying to send. So, going forward, that's another thing that we need to take into account when we are dealing with the PC culture today, especially online. One is that they want to feel heard, and two, they don't understand what we're trying to say. Now, we're going to get into the topic as to how it affects us, the people that are essentially fighting back. And when I use the term fighting back, the terminology fighting back, it's not a good thing, because we are fighting fire with fire. I see a lot of people talking to one another as if they hated one another. When we fight PC culture, we don't want to fight fire with fire. We don't want to use the same tactics as they are. I'll put it into perspective. If you were in the middle of a war, would you use the exact same tactics that the other military was using? If somebody was attacking you from one side, would you go and do the same thing, just attack them from the exact same side and expect a different outcome? No, that's insane. And I know a whole lot of us understand the definition of insanity. I know we've all delved into that. I hope we have. But we essentially are going about it the wrong way, because we are attacking the PC culture with words and verbiage that they use to attack others because they don't understand what we're trying to communicate. So, whenever we get the opportunity to stumble upon people that are within the PC culture, that are doing those things, that are going out of their way to harm another person for their opinion, behavior, video, chat, talk, whatever you want to call it, and whatever it may be, we need to understand that what they're doing is wrong, yes, but it's a chance for us, it's an opportunity for us to talk to them and trying to establish a connection with them to communicate so they can understand what we're saying, what we're trying to communicate, and vice versa, and we can understand what they're trying to say. The entire PC culture, I'm going to wrap it up with this, the entire PC culture has come up on the internet because there are just two sides fighting against one another because they believe they are right. Neither one of you is right. Nobody is right because nobody is wrong. So it's a self-defeating war that people have waged against others now on this web of online interconnectivity, and nobody's going to win. When I put it that way, just remember that whenever you believe that somebody is coming from a perspective of the PC culture that we've created, that they might think the same thing about you. And that gives you a beautiful opportunity to talk to them. Even though we might not want to. We might not want to understand what they're trying to communicate because we believe we're right. Which we shouldn't do because we don't know that we're right. We don't know 100% that we're right, ever. So, I'm going to leave it there. Keep in mind, guys, whenever you are interacting with people that you believe are in cahoots with the PC culture, just understand that they just don't understand. And if you are the person that is doing it, then the reason you're probably doing it is because you don't understand. And maybe it's time to come out of your shell and ask us some questions so that we may communicate and understand one another. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys had a fantastic couple of weeks. It is the new year, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Bye.